Hey gorgeous! Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed building video. I hope you're all doing well. So today, like I promised in my last video, I am back building in my save file, and this is going to be a neoclassical style villa, or mansion rather, for the Alto family. If you don't know, the Alto family is an infamous family that was introduced in The Sims 3. They are a very wealthy business family, and they are the rivals of the land grab family. So if you don't know, I already built a house for the land grabs in my save file. You can kind of see it in the background here. And I also made a video on them. So I definitely recommend you guys check out that video first if you haven't already, because I kind of go into a little bit more detail about the backstory of the land grabs. And since the land grabs story and the Alto story is quite intertwined, I definitely recommend you guys checking that out. Obviously, if you're here just because you're interested in watching a speed building video and you're not really interested in hearing about my save file, that is completely fine too. You don't have to watch it, but it's just, you know, it might be nice if you are interested in kind of Sims lore, so to say. So, yeah, the Alto family, actually, like I just said, was introduced in The Sims 3, and it consists of 3 members. So we have Vita Alto and Nick Alto, and then their daughter Holly Alto. So Vita and Nick are infamous, relentless business people. They say that they kind of unofficially own of the real estate in Sunset Valley. They are new money. And their daughter is actually a goody two-shoes. And the funny thing is that, so the land grabs, Nancy and Jeffrey, they are the enemies of Vita and Nick Alto. But their daughter Holly, she gets along with Malcolm quite well. So I built upon that storyline, and in the end, Holly ended up marrying Malcolm into the land grab family. And this was not accepted by the Altos. The Altos really definitely are still very much the enemies of the land grabs, and they do not appreciate that Holly kind of married into their family, and they kind of disowned her. So, like I just described in The Sims 3, Vita and Alto only had one daughter. In my save file, they also had another son. And he is quite a bit younger, I would say, than Holly is. I would say that he would be at least 16 years younger than Holly, because obviously Holly was a teen in The Sims 3. I think she's now like an adult or an elder in the timeline of my save file, because I would say that the events of my save file are kind of set 40 years, approximately 40 years after the events of The Sims 3. So I talked about this before as well. Actually, my save file is also kind of set in an alternate timeline, so it doesn't build upon the events in The Sims 2, but it's kind of the situation where, I don't know if you guys have seen like the What If show by Marvel, but it's kind of an alternate timeline, I would say, and something happened. Maybe there was some time traveling involved, and the events that took place in The Sims 2 did not take place in this alternate universe, so to say, if that makes any sense anyway. Yeah, so the Alto family, so their storyline is that Vita and Nick passed away of old age. I will be making their gravestones, and I will be putting them in the Willow Creek Cemetery that I built already. And now it is the younger brother, let's call him Junior for now, who is living here in this house with his wife, Dina, and their son. So if the name Dina rings a bell, that is because she's now Dina Alto, but she used to be called Dina Caliente. She is one of the Caliente twins, and maybe if you've played The Sims 2, you might know that Dina Caliente was actually married to Michael Batchelor, who is the brother of Bella Goth. Michael Batchelor passed away, and then Bella Goth disappeared, and she kind of went after Mortimer Goth, so she went after the Goth fortune. Now, because in my save file, Bella Goth did not disappear, it was actually Mortimer who got abducted by aliens and he got impregnated by the aliens, so they have another toddler. Because Bella Goth did not disappear, Dina decided to go after the Alto fortune. So she's living here now with Junior or Nick Jr. Alto, and they are married, or I imagine them to be married, and they have a son. So their son is really a typical Alto. I kind of imagine this kid really being a little D-bag. This kid is absolutely the worst. I would imagine that maybe in school, he would constantly flaunt his Alto name. He would be a school bully. I can imagine that maybe he would ask like the very smart kids in class to do his homework for him, but not in a nice way. He would literally threaten them. And also none of the teachers can really do anything about it because everybody is so scared of the Alto family. I definitely imagine the Altos being way more dark and way more evil than the Landgrab family, for example. So the Landgrab family is still a very rich family, but they're not the relentless new money business people that the Altos are. And then another thing that I thought of would be kind of cool to incorporate in this storyline. If you've seen my Landgrab video, you know that the Landgrabs have a son who is also kind of an evil person. He's a young adult. He's the son of Holly and Malcolm. And Holly and Malcolm are actually two friendly Sims. They are old money. They are quite business savvy, but they're not relentless business people. And their son feels like they're not worthy of the Landgrab name, and he was really obsessed with his grandmother Nancy Landgrab, who is really this relentless business woman. So he kind of makes it his life goal to bring the Landgrab business back and make it a thriving and feared business. And so he really is rivals with the Alto family. So that is kind of the storyline for the Landgrabs anyway. And like I just said, Dina Caliente, or Dina Alto, she's now married to Alto Jr., but I thought it would be kind of interesting to, stay true to who Dina is. Like, she's a bit of a man-eater. She definitely was in The Sims 2 anyway. I think she had like an affair with Don Lothario and with Mortimer, obviously, and she used to be married to Michael Batchelor. I'm not shaming her, by the way, guys. I think she's awesome, but she definitely is a bit of a man-eater. And I kind of imagine that she would have an affair with the kid of the Landgrabs. So I imagine them both being young adults, and I imagine or Nick Jr. being a little bit older than Dina is. And I imagine the kids of the Landgrabs being a very handsome man. Like, he is kind of a narcissistic person. But yeah, he comes across as very charismatic. And so I think it would be kind of fitting for Dina to kind of have an affair with him. And the funny thing is that they are actually enemies, obviously, because Dina officially is now in an Alto, and the Landgrabs and the Altos do not get along. And so for Malcolm Jr., let's call him Malcolm Jr., the relationship is strictly physical, but Dina kind of marrying into the Alto family just for money, because, typical Dina, she may be developing a little bit of a crush on Malcolm Jr. So yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting storyline to go with, and I hope you guys like that idea as well. Obviously, I have not made any of these sims yet. I just want to make you guys aware that it is not completely set in stone what is going to happen with these sims, but this is just kind of the basic storyline that I have in mind that I'm going to build off of once I've built all of the lots, and then I'm going to create the sims and, you know, set up the storylines so that the save file is ready for you guys to download. Which I hope, by the way, to get there in 2 months, I hope, because at the moment I'm aiming to upload twice a week. And obviously, I don't think I'm going to make a build for my save file with every build that I upload, because I also kind of want to have some variety in terms of where my builds are, because at the moment my save file is basically just Willow Creek, but I definitely want to have some variety on my channel. Every once in a while I might do like an English cottage in Hanford on Beckley, or in Windenburg, or whatever. So, but just so you guys know, yeah, so I really hope you guys like that storyline idea. About this house, like I said in the beginning of the video, this house is actually I would say a neoclassical type build. And the neoclassical building movement or architectural movement, I would call it, is definitely not as neo as the name would suggest. I think it originated during like the Georgian or the Victorian era even. It basically means kind of the revival of like Roman and Greek architectural details. So you see in this build also the pillars, which is like a typical Roman or Greek pillar, and it's very dramatic and symmetrical facade, lots of straight lines. But I kind of imagine this house actually not being very old. So let's say the Landgrabs, they live in a very old Georgian home. This was actually built in like the 1700s, and it has been in the family for generations. But obviously the Altos are definitely more a new money family. So their house was built not that long ago. I kind of imagine maybe Vita and Nick were the ones that, you know, bought this plot of land, obviously close to the Landgrabs, just to bother them. And they built a new style house. And I kind of found a couple of, if you search on Pinterest, neoclassical architecture, you will definitely find some good references, and you can kind of find of what kind of architecture I built or I based this build off. It has, you know, straight lines. It doesn't have like a typical hipped roof or anything. The roofs are actually flat, and I made use of the platforms to make it look just a little bit more dynamic. And you guys, I am actually really, really proud of how this build turned out, especially the exterior. I think it looks so cool. At the end of the video, you will see me adding in a bunch of lights, and the build just looks so awesome at night. It looks amazing. Oh my gosh. And yeah, just one thing that really bothered me with this lot is that actually the lighting is not very good. So the front of the build is always in the shadows. So to actually take a screenshot of this build to put in like a thumbnail, I had to turn it around. So that's why the thumbnail might look a little bit strange, or you don't see the Landgrab building or the Landgrab house in the background of the thumbnail. That's because the lot was actually turned around, so I had better lighting to take screenshots. Yeah, it's just really disappointing when you have a build and you want to take like a nice screenshot and it's not possible just because of the lighting on the lot is so bad, but you definitely want it on that specific lot. That's what happened here. Oh well. Oh, by the way, another thing that really, really bugs me are those freaking thumbnails in the gallery. I don't understand why you can't customize. Well, I do understand why you can't customize them in the sense of, you know, putting whatever picture you want. I mean, people are weird and they will probably post really weird things on the gallery that is supposed to be, you know, child friendly. But I feel like we should at least be able to kind of pick the side of the build that we show in the thumbnail, or maybe like some kind of system that allows us to take screenshots of the builds that, you know, prevent people from posting weird stuff. Well, even then with custom content, you have to be a bit careful, I suppose. But I really wish we just had some more customization for the thumbnails, because they often just look so bad. But oh well. So this is actually the office area for, I would imagine, Nick Jr. and maybe Dina. She also does some work every once in a while. And I really like this room because it kind of is open to the lounge room below. And it just has this really grand feeling with this large modern windows. I just really think it looks really cool. And so yeah, I just mentioned that this is an office for both Nick Jr. and Dina. I don't think Dina would be like the trophy wife who just doesn't work at all. I think she would still be quite involved in the Alto business. Maybe, just maybe, this is an idea that just popped into my head. Maybe she can kind of start an affair with Malcolm Landgrab Jr. to kind of spy for the Alto business, to see, to kind of seduce Malcolm into giving away the Landgrab business secrets so that she can use that for the Alto business. Who knows? You can't really do that in The Sims, of course, so you just kind of have to pretend. It's a bit of role play, but I do quite like that storyline idea. Which, speaking of things that are not possible in The Sims, I have not really decided yet what kind of jobs I think these Sims would have. I imagine that they would own real estate like you were able to in The Sims 3. You're not really able to do that in The Sims 4, unfortunately. Like, you can own like a retail store, a vet clinic, and a restaurant. And technically you can run a restaurant and a vet clinic when you're not on the lot. But you have to kind of get them up to 5 stars first, and it doesn't really work that well for me personally. And I don't really imagine the Altos being in the restaurant and vet clinic business, which, by the way, would be such an odd combination of businesses, to be an expert in. So I think they would just kind of have the money aspiration and just kind of, receive the investment money based off that aspiration. But yeah, it's not really as hands-on. I wish we could just buy like a bar or a club or something and not really do anything to make money, but that it will be a guarantee that it makes money. So a little bit less involved than running a vet clinic or a restaurant, but just a little bit more involved than just, getting the aspiration bonus of receiving random investment money and you have no clue what you invested in. So, by the way, this is the room of their kid, and you can see that they're, quite spoiled in the things that they own. They have their own very luxury bathroom, and they have a TV and a stereo, and of course like a modern mansion playhouse, which I thought was really funny and suiting. And oh my goodness, I hate this kid so much. I can imagine this kid would just be the absolute worst piece of bad word that I'm not going to say on my YouTube channel because family friendly. But yeah, I think you can kind of imagine what kind of a kid he is. And this is actually the 3rd floor. So here I just decided to put in like a yoga space. And just so you guys are aware, currently we have 3 bedrooms. So for the kids, for the parents, and I think a butler, and an office room. And then the upstairs is like a yoga room. You could definitely fit in more bedrooms if you want if you want to use this house for your own family. Obviously, you don't have to, keep it the same. I really don't mind if you want to use it and change it up. That is completely fine by me. And here you see me adding in the lights, like kind of Art Deco inspired lights, I would say. And yeah, I think it just makes the exterior look so cool, especially at night. It looks absolutely epic, I think. And even though it's not a very big house, it still has that very grand feeling. But yeah, I think we should be coming near the screenshots now. I'm just adding in the final lights. Oh yeah, here we go. Here are the screenshots. So yeah, I'm going to just leave this voiceover right here. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please let me know by leaving a like or a comment, or feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of my future videos. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!